So why is China's currency move rocking financial markets around the world? Maggie Lake is joining us now from New York to discuss all of this. Maggie, a 2% shift in a country's currency isn't typically a big thing, so why has this stunned the markets?
Lynda, I think it's because this does signal a big policy shift, and it was unexpected. It really came by surprise. You remember, after all of the equity selling, that big stock dive that we saw earlier this summer there, and the efforts to contain that by the authorities, a lot of China experts thought that that would have spooked them. Maybe they'd be moving away from some of those market reforms people were expecting. So the fact that they came out, did this, and what they see as sort of an aggressive move, a big change, even though it's only 2%, this is a country that has long had very firm control and peg over its currency. So it is a big policy shift. It surprised a lot of people. I think for investors and traders, they're also looking at this and saying, it's so aggressive and unexpected. Do they know something we don't? Is growth even slower than any of those official numbers we talk about that? And so we don't know the answer to that, but the attitude now seems to be to sell and try to figure it all out later.
And Maggie, US lawmakers have accused China of manipulating its currency to boost export prices. Presidential candidate Donald Trump went as far to say that China is trying to destroy the US economy. Is that at all a fair assessment?
No. I mean, when you talk to most people, it's not a fair assessment. Is this going to cause pain for U.S. companies? Yes, it is. But again, most China watchers say this is really based on not trying to hurt the U.S. or destroy the U.S., but this is based on looking at their own domestic economy. They're trying to transition away from an export-reliant country to one that focuses on its domestic consumer, really rebalance its own economy. And this is one way to do this. You know, for many years, a lot of officials and multinationals have been calling on China to let market forces dictate their currency. When that conversation first started, there was the assumption that the yuan would actually appreciate against the dollar. The timing of it right now means we are seeing the opposite. We are seeing the yuan depreciate against the dollar. So that is causing a negative effect, but is the intention to cause the U.S. harm? Most people in the policy world say no. Politicians are certainly playing to a home audience, I think, Lynda, when they're talking like that.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the People's Bank of China has issued a statement saying there's no basis to believe the yuan will persistently decline. What's your reading of the situation?
Well, it's a little hard to tell right now, and this is the tricky thing when you make a big policy change like this. It's often hard to control, especially in the short term, what happens. And people are looking at China. They're very concerned about growth. So I think in the short term, we are going to continue to see the yuan devalue. But it all depends on what you think is going to happen to the Chinese economy. If the Chinese officials are successful and they institute more of these market reforms, they open up their economy, they transition to a more consumption-led, services-led economy, then the yuan will stop falling and it will rise. It will find some equilibrium. And that's certainly what the Chinese officials are saying. That's why they're saying that. Will that happen? That's going to determine the currencies. One thing I think we can be sure of, Lynda, is that we're not going to see a huge outsized move. At the very end of the day today, after watching the second day where it was allowed to fall, there are reports, and if you look at the charts, that Chinese officials came in to lend some support. So they're letting it move for now within a range, letting the market dictate it, but it doesn't look like they're going to let it move one way or the other very dramatically. They do want to get some sense of stability in here. And so a lot of analysts we talked to this morning expect that to continue. Some support on the sides, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay, Maggie Lake in New York, thank you very much for that very comprehensive update. Talk to you soon. And let's take another quick look at the big war. The Dow Jones is currently down at 220 points. We'll continue to watch that during the day.